Chapter 8. Percy Bysshe Shelley. Percy Bysshe Shelley, 1792 to 1822, had much in common with the Marquis de Sade while representing a variation of humanism. Humanism, after Rousseau, was vocal in its belief in the natural goodness of man. As against Calvin's insistence on fallen man's total depravity, Rousseau believed in the natural man's goodness when not corrupted by family and church, these two being the essence of a chaining civilization. The Enlightenment had been the return of Renaissance humanism. It was the humanism of men who were enlightened and so regarded the emphasis on family and church as best suited for the ignorant masses. Many of the key Enlightenment men never married. Shelley never doubted his goodness. He was regularly disappointed that those around him who displeased him lacked his virtues. Basic to the neoclassical writers, and more pronounced in the Romantics, is the theme of solitude. In a world corrupted by family and church, the two institutions of an oppressive Christianity, the quote-unquote free man was lonely. This romantic hero, faced with an ugly and hostile civilization, resigned, we are told, quote, his high and holy soul to images of the majestic past that paused within his passive being now, like winds that bear sweet music when they breathe through some dim latticed chamber. End quote. These lines come from Alastor, or Spirit of Solitude. For the Romantics, the high and holy soul is always lonely, and solitude is his lot. He cannot live in peace with or in community with the vast world of baser men. As a result, his is a professionally lonely man. The culmination of this is indeed hell. Jean-Paul Sartre in No Exit has Garcin declare, quote, hell is other people. End quote. Albert William Levi commented, quote, hell is other people for Sartre because in his quaint universe of appropriation and domination, a land of Hobbesian state of nature where the stakes are not the externals of wealth and deference, but purely internal states of consciousness like nausea, shame, pride and alienation, all contact with the other implies a latent contest. End quote. Alastor is a pretentious poem. Shelley sees himself not only as a, quote, high and holy soul, end quote, but as too good for humanity, or even life. He can commune only with nature. His opening line salutes earth, ocean, air, beloved brotherhood. Where humanity is concerned, he can communicate only with the noble dead. Quote, I have made my bed in charnels and old coffins where black death keeps record of the trophies won from thee, hoping to still these obstinate questionings of thee and thine by forcing some lost ghost, thy messenger, to render up the tale of what we are. End quote. Shelley came from a notable family, and he enraged his father. Had he come of common stock, perhaps some healthy laughter might have recalled him to reality. As it happens, he dreamed of, quote, reforming the world, end quote. The Marquis de Sade saw Rousseau's nature without any Christian borrowings. It was without morality, and was for him the area of natural man's unhindered self-expression. All that occurs in nature was held to be normative, and whatever went against that normal expression, that is, Christianity, was unnatural and therefore to be forbidden. For Shelley and the Romantics, nature was on the side of the rebel against family and church. For Shelley, quote, nature's inner shrine, end quote, was, quote, where gods and fiends in worship bend, end quote. The God of Christianity is replaced by pagan, quote, gods and fiends, end quote, by natural anti-Christian forces. Everything in Shelley drew him to the myth of Prometheus, the titan who defied Jupiter or Zeus, the supreme god. Prometheus was a favourite of the Romantics. Like him, they were in revolt against heaven. Like him, they felt chained in their cases to the conventional society of family and church. Prometheus is the champion of liberty against the gods, himself a godlike being. Greek humanism and Aeschylus made Prometheus a hero without formally breaking with Zeus worship. The Romantics saw their Prometheus in revolt against the biblical god. Philo M. Buck Jr. said of the Romantic Prometheus, quote, "As a hero, Prometheus was the more congenial to an age that understood Rousseau's social contract and Godwin's political justice, because he could so easily be made to symbolize human benevolence and his great and triumphant opponent Jupiter, lawless tyranny. Prometheus, the new and benevolent creed of liberty, equality and fraternity, and sweetness and light. Jupiter, the ancien régime of irresponsible power and blind ignorance." End quote. Quote, "Prometheus Unbound," end quote, is about the redemption of man, but unlike Dante's Divine Comedy, it is a redemption from God. Man's harmony and perfection come by means of deliverance from God. Man's bondage to God is evil, his deliverance is into perfection. Shelley gives us a cleaned-up version of the same revolution as de Sade's. It is presented as an invitation to all, quote, "noble souls," end quote. The Marquis summoned people to total sexual anarchism. Shelley's vision of the liberation of man is into a stateless, godless world of licentious bliss and a peaceable realm of fulfillment for all. The quote-unquote earth tells Prometheus, quote, "Thou art more than God, being wise and kind," end quote. Shelley sees himself as a Prometheus who unshackles himself and offers mankind freedom also. In Shelley's work, De Morgan deposes Jupiter and sends him crying into hell. Oceans then heals the blissful world which follows the fall of Jupiter, the great god. Quote, "Henceforth the fields of heaven-reflecting sea, which are my realm, will heave, unstained with blood. Beneath the uplifting winds, like plains of corn, swayed by the summer air, my streams will flow round many peopled continents and round fortunate isles, and from their glassy thrones blue Proteus and his humid nymphs shall mark the shadow of fair ships, as mortals see the floating bark of the light-laden moon. With that white star, its slightest pilot's crest, bore down the rapid sunset's ebbing sea, tracking their path no more by blood and groans and desolation and the mingled voice of slavery and command, but by the light of wave-reflected flowers and floating odours, and music soft and mild, free, gentle voices, and sweetest music, such as spirits love." End quote. This deliverance from the rule of heaven was the romantic dream, and also the goal of revolutions. In the mid-1930s, a professor of literature cited Shelley's Prometheus Unbound as a part of the, quote, prophetic, end quote, literature in the background of the Russian Revolution. Such a radical revolution was an aspect of the romantic hope, although men such as Shelley would have become early victims. Shelley's ideas were obviously anti-Christian. He gave to Christianity only a negative part in the shaping of Western civilization. He wrote in the preface to Hellas, quote, "We are all Greeks. Our laws, our literature, our religion, our arts have their root in Greece. But for Greece, Rome, the instructor, the conqueror, or the metropolis of our ancestors, would have spread no illumination with their arms, and we might still have been savages and idolaters, or, what is worse, might have arrived at such a stagnant and miserable state of social institution as China and Japan possess." End quote. For men like Shelley, Christianity and Christendom were only a middle era between ancient and modern humanism. The evils produced by this humanism in the French and Russian revolutions are not discussed. Somehow, Christianity is to blame for them. Adolf Hitler's obvious ideal was classical civilization and its art. Somehow, Christianity was seen as responsible for Hitler. For Shelley, ancient Greece represented, quote, perfection, end quote. One of the quote-unquote actors in quote-unquote Hellas is Christ, who speaks of, quote, Plato's sacred light, of which my spirit was a burning marrow, end quote. Christ, together with Satan and Mohammed, is a member of, quote, the Senate of the gods, end quote. The quote-unquote god of quote-unquote Hellas is a Greek conception. A Greek, quote, semi-chorus I, end quote, tells us, quote, in the great morning of the world, the Spirit of God with might unfurled, the flag of freedom over chaos, and all its banded anarchs fled, like vultured frighted from a mess, before an earthquake's tread. So, from time's tempestuous dawn, freedom's splendour burst and shone. Thermopylae and Marathon, caught like mountains beacon-lighted, the springing fire, the winged glory on Philippi half alighted. Like an eagle on a promontory, its unwearied wings could fan the quenchless ashes of Milan. From age to age, from man to man, it lived and lit from land to land. Florence, Albion, Switzerland, end quote. The freedom was quenched. However, in Shelley's day, Greece was struggling for freedom from Turkey. Shelley hoped that a new classical age would begin. With Greece arising once again, the chorus could declare, quote, the world's great age begins anew, the golden years return. The earth doth like a snake renew, her winter weeds outworn. Heaven smiles, and faiths and empires gleam, like wrecks of a dissolving dream. End quote. Shelley, a romantic to the core of his being, saw liberation as deliverance from God, from family and church. Somehow a world without Christianity would be the reign of freedom and bliss. In the world of the Marquis de Sade, all men are like himself, eager to violate every law of God and man. Shelley wanted to reserve to himself that freedom from God's law, and yet he wanted to expel God from this world. Like the other romantics, he lacked Sade's sense of consequences.